Hi everybody, I'm Kevin Eck. I am the face behind TVSpy, and this is our new video venture. It's called TVSpy This Week.
Yes, yes.
And we're planning on giving you a recap of what the stories we've done on TVSpy, and we're also planning on giving you a little bit more perspective, talking to some reporters and anchors around the country about what they do and how they do it, and hopefully giving you guys an eye into making your jobs and your lives a little better.
We're going deep.
We are. We're going deep. This is like deep web here.
Deep web, yeah.
And I'm joined by the lovely Stephanie, who's our perspective giver.
Yes.
Who is a veteran of the industry.
Yes. So quick background. Hi, everybody. I was a reporter here in New York City at WPIX. I started Real Media Group 2 years ago, where I provide support and development tips for reporters at every point in their career. And I'm just so happy Kevin and I are friends. This is exciting.
Sis.
We're nervous.
Yes.
We don't know how this is going to go. He's very nervous. And we are going to start off by giving you the top 5 stories on TVSpy. I mean, I used to read this blog religiously when I was in the newsroom. So I think people are going to be really excited to hear more commentary and, get some feedback from the people that are featured in the stories.
Right. It's a little better than just the dry writing that my little short sentences. So
3 sentences, done.
Exactly.
Okay, so what's number 1?
Mike Jarek is back.
Right.
And for those of you who haven't been following, Mike Jarek is the WTXF anchor.
Fox 29.
Fox 29 anchor
Philly.
in Philadelphia. They were doing an interview about Trump, and they went to a clip about Kellyanne Conway using the alternate facts line with Chuck Todd. And when they came back, one of the guests that Jarek was interviewing suggested that Conway was good at spinning facts, to which Jarek replied,
She's good. She's good.
Well, what are alternative facts?
She's good at bullshit.
Oh, boy.
which landed him landed him in the Fox doghouse. He was off air for about a week, and he came back Monday morning and offered an explanation, less than an apology.
As most of you know, this show is different than any other show that's seen in the morning in Philadelphia, and I've been doing this TV business for a long time, and I like to take all our subject matter right up to the line and put my toe over the line. Well, last Monday, a week ago today, I went over the line, so I crossed it, used a word you just can't say on TV, and Alex, I'm sorry, I kind of put you in a bad position because you were sitting next to me when I said it. Well, I don't want to make
I think you did the right thing.
I think so.
And I think Fox handled it well. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they did. I think they didn't make a lot of noise about it. They just kind of pulled him off the air, let him sit, and then they brought him back. So.
And, he made the comment to Sue Serio when he got back on air. I mean, I think it's just that general energy about that, Good Day Philadelphia, about that show, right? I mean, people, they're just in your face, honest. That's the Philly feel. I'm from Philly. I worked with him. I worked with him locally. I worked with him when he was at Fox and Friends. Yeah,
I wasn't going to do the story because I thought it was just Jarek being Jarek, but it kind of blew up a little bit, so I figured I'd do something on it. Like you say, that before he got out of the apology, he asked Sue Serio to do something inappropriate, like flash everybody, kind of get him off the hook, which kind of just they just kind of kept that train rolling. So.
I think it was the right move.
As we know, President Trump's executive order says the White House will begin publicizing a weekly list of these municipalities and pledges to withdraw federal grant money from them. What I'm wondering is how soon we can expect to see this list, and how soon should cities like Providence expect to see their federal funding cut?
So the next story is WPRI in Providence got some nice national exposure when their reporter Kim Kalunian.
I like this story.
Yeah, I do too. It's great. You're suddenly seeing local reporters get a national stage where they never thought they'd have it before. She got a chance on Skype to ask a question at a press briefing.
Right. You haven't seen it before, and I think it's interesting now, especially with the restrictions that the media have been dealing with in this administration so far. For local reporters, not only to get that kind of opportunity to ask questions, obviously at the White House, but that kind of national exposure, that is like every local reporter's dream, right? I mean, she's literally been launched to a national platform by way of technology, which is huge. And we're going to talk to Kim, which we're really excited about next week.
We are, yeah.
So we'll get some more insight then.
Yes, we're going to set up a Skype interview with her and talk to her about her experience. Hackers have been taking over radio stations across the country, I think in Seattle, and I think they did it in Tennessee, and they did it in South Carolina, where they play like 10 to 15 minutes of an anti-Trump rap
Right, but we don't know who produced it.
We don't know who produced it.
We don't know who's really
no,
behind
yeah,
the
we don't,
vocals.
Yeah, we don't know
No.
who's laying down the tracks, as the kids like to say. Or
Yeah.
What, I don't know. Yeah.
But, this is really a PSA. This is
It
the
is.
reason.
It is. This is a cautionary tale, which
Yeah.
is one of my favorite sayings, because if they can do it to radio stations, they can also probably do it to TV stations. So engineers out there, get your passwords in line, protected. Yeah, because you never know what's coming. XETV in San Diego is going to go off air. The owner basically decided to give up the ship because they lost the CW affiliation to KFMB, the CBS affiliate. XETV is the second oldest station next to
Yes.
KFMB. It came on the air in the 50s, so that community is losing another voice, a local voice, which I think is kind of sad. It's going to be, their signal is going to be replaced by a station from Mexico City. I don't know what they're going to air, but again, it's another local voice that's kind of going away. So
And I think, unfortunately, we might see that becoming a trend, but
yes.
we'll see.
Yeah,
Obviously.
because it's the consolidation of affiliations into one station, which we're seeing all across the country anyway. So,
And this is my favorite one, The Bachelor story.
KTV in Little Rock was airing The Bachelor last week, which is a very, very popular show. I'm
I know,
hearing.
but it's too much. It's just too
Well,
much.
everybody has to be there for the right reasons.
Yes, I guess.
One of the contestants was telling the Bachelor guy, don't know his name.
I mean, neither do I this time around.
It's just the
if
Bachelor
you know
guy.
it, put it in the comments so we look like total idiots.
I have it written down, but you know.
The
we don't
guy
have
with the
time for that.
rose.
Yes, the guy with
probably
the rose.
sexy. Yeah.
He's very sexy.
Beyond.
It's dreamy.
Yeah.
So she was telling him a story about walking in on her ex-boyfriend having sex with another
Right.
woman, and across the country that aired in Little Rock. They cut
Prime time,
yep,
racy.
in Little Rock they cut to a commercial. It just so happened that the length of the commercial coincided with the length of her story. So when they came back, it was basically and so that happened. So people in Little Rock were trying to figure out what happened. Some people were claiming censorship. The Washington Post wrote about it. The station told the Post that it was just a master control mistake and that it wasn't anything that they meant to do. It just happened. So.
But you're suspect of that. Or there have been other examples of it happening. Let's just put it that way.
There have, and it seems to me, because I'm cynical, it seems a little suspect that somebody would cut away from something controversial. There was a station in New Orleans and a station in Oklahoma City. These two stations were airing a Cosmos episode, and they were talking about evolution. Those two stations went to break during the evolution story, which also led to viewers complaining, talking about censorship. So it's a very, if it's a mistake, it's a mistake, but it's a very convenient mistake to go away for that amount of time. And that is our top 5 stories from TVSpy.
Love that segment. Like this segment even more. This is what we're going to call movers. People like TVSpy to figure out where their friends are going, where their old coworkers are going, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
love it.
Yep.
So we're going to feature a few. Some movers I know personally, which I'm really excited about.
And who do you know?
I know Katie Beck. Katie Beck was featured on your blog, last
Yes.
week?
It was a couple weeks ago, probably
okay.
about a month ago.
And Katie and I worked together in Gainesville, Florida in our first job. This is somebody I knew was going to be on the network someday. I just knew it, even when
How
we were
did you
in our
know
20s.
when you were in
Because she
Gainesville?
focused on the right things. She focused on solid writing, good storytelling, and asking the right questions that held people accountable. But got on the phone with her, or on Facebook Message or whatever, same thing, last night. And she's training in LA, and she's been covering some protests out there, and I'm really happy for her. I'm genuinely I'm happy for her.
Well, it's a big deal for a local reporter to get a network job.
It just reminds me a little of Katie Tur, who I knew from just like the New York reporting days, and she's just blown up. And for the same thing for her, I always thought she focused on the right things.
Kelly Kennedy?
Kelly Kennedy. I like this story because I worked with her personally. Kelly is a girl who graduated college, needed a demo reel, came through our boot camp here in New York, got to work with an on-air reporter, and started actually in Nebraska for a couple years. Went to Panama City, which is like market 130, I can't even remember the market, 139 maybe, and came through our job program, and in 3 weeks it was in market 25 at the CBS affiliate in Raleigh-Durham. And I think the important thing, or the message, for, at least from what I gathered from Kelly, is that she really focused on getting good feedback. She focused on her craft and kind of keeping her eye on the prize, right? And I think if you can just stay focused on those things, it will happen faster, especially if you're listening to direction from the executives.
And speaking of station
the
groups,
last one?
yeah,
Yeah.
Peter Ligori stepped down from Tribune.
And I worked at Tribune before he was there.
Right.
Yeah. I just know on background, I spoke to some people at WPIX, and he was like really well liked there.
Oh, nice.
And and the joke was that he was done fixing Tribune. He wants to go on to his next project, and I mean, kudos if if you like to fix things. It's an amazing undertaking. This is a segment we're going to be doing every week, and we want to encourage you to weigh in.
Yeah, definitely. We have an anonymous tip box. You can just click on it and you can send in your anonymous tip. We definitely follow up on them, so please send anything you know that you want known.
His way.
That's right.
I'm here with Michael Herzenberg, New York One reporter. If you live in New York, you definitely know him, I think.
I hope.
Right?
I hope,
Yeah.
yeah.
We hope. And he's here because you were just at JFK covering the Trump protests, and I think, and I know, it's an amazing learning lesson for everybody. Being in the thick of those protests, especially when there's really no script for these things for
Right.
a lot of reporters across the country. Talk about it.
It's almost better when there isn't a script
Right.
because you're observing what's going on and just conveying that to people. We
Right.
were live from 8 p.m. till 1 in the morning, wall to wall. We had my live shot. We had another reporter at JFK, as well as a reporter in Brooklyn covering the federal hearing, the challenge to the executive order. And I grabbed a DeGero, live truck in a box, of course,
Right.
and with a photographer, and we went into the middle of the protest to get a feel for how it was going and talk to the protesters why they were there.
Is it heated? Is it peaceful? Were you really showing, or were you able to capture what it was really like? I mean, the smells, the sights, it's hard.
Yeah, sticking yourself in the middle of it helps, obviously, and talking to those people. And there wasn't, my first priority with a photographer is our safety, of course. In a protest, it can always get ugly really quickly. This didn't, though. The protesters, they were legitimately angry, not saying their anger was legitimate one way or another, but they were angry and upset about what happened. Some of them because they had family members that were abroad. One family had their mother in Yemen there for a sick relative and was due to come back with her green card 3 days from then, and they were just upset and worried about her. But there wasn't the tension with police that I've seen in so many other protests, and that was very nice to see. It was completely peaceful with one exception, and that was a Trump supporter walking through the crowd apparently hit a woman's sign, and that guy
Grand
got
scheme.
surrounded.
Right.
But I actually grabbed the cops and said, "Go save that guy."
Right. And, as an MMJ, right, in the biggest city in the country, at JFK Airport, where transportation was shut down, how do you protect yourself? How do you protect your photographer? And big note that I just learned, I mean, your photographers are news assistants, so you're not only reporting, you're training them. So
Right.
you're trying to teach somebody how to do their job at the same time. It's stressful.
Yeah, but they are so happy to have this opportunity. 9 out of 10 of them are just so excited to be in New York, covering news and learning how to do it. They have such great attitudes. So my priority really is to help them and keep us safe. And the way I do that is just try and read the crowd and not go somewhere where we shouldn't. And it wasn't a big deal this time, but just guiding them around from behind, grabbing their shoulder, moving them into position. And then when I saw the line of police, walk them over to the line of police and show that, and that there really isn't that confrontation. There was a little bit of pushing at one point when cops had to clear the street, but there wasn't any pushback from protesters. And if there had been, that's when I would have grabbed my news assistant and moved away, because that's when the cops would push back and it would just escalate.
What are the takeaways for people that are watching this, that are reporting across the country as an MMJ, where you're doing more with less in this business now? How do you provide full range of coverage with what you got?
I think the same principles still apply. I've been a reporter. I've been a reporter and a photographer. I started out in South Carolina as a reporter photographer. Then I went to reporter. Now I'm back in New York as a reporter photographer. And take your time. No coverage is worth your safety. And I'd rather be second and right than first and wrong.
I love that.
So,
it's incredibly important, especially in a day and age where you're getting fed information on your phone, on your iPad, in your ear. It's not just calling up, doing your beat calls anymore.
right, and in a situation like a live event like that, it's really just talking to the crowd and telling the audience what I was observing as I was observing it and trying to keep it clean. Before an interview at times saying, hey, no cursing, that's the only rule, because, and they don't always abide by that.
Right. Well, thank you for being here and giving our first show a shot.
So you made it this far. This is the last segment. This is going to be kind of our interactive segment.
Yes.
It's going to be a little question and answer period for everybody.
I'm going to throw you a loop because everybody, this is Kevin's first time doing TV,
That's
and
right.
he's been pretty good. So if you
Usually
want to put
I'm
like a thumbs up emoji in the comment section, I'm sure he'll appreciate it. No, but back to the issue at hand, or the topic at hand. We're going to put a question out there, and the purpose of this segment is to just open up the lines of communication amongst newsrooms and to get a really good, effective, hopefully, learning type conversation started. There we go. Here's my question, or here's our question. We want to know, what are the conversations in your newsrooms, whether it be the morning meetings or behind closed doors, about how to cover the Trump administration? Right?
That's right. If you were watching the whole thing, Trump was the thread throughout this entire video. So we think that's an important thing to talk about. If you want to get in on the conversation, just go to the link below that I'm pointing at right now. Or you can even email me at kevin.eck@adweek.com. I won't spell it. You'll see it you'll see my byline on TVSpy. That's
And
pretty
we're
much
going to
it.
share your comments next week.
Yes, we are. Yes.
So please weigh in. Nothing mean. Please. This isn't the place for that.
Right. We're going to try to keep it high.
Yeah, standards are going to be high.
That's right. That's right.
Thank you for watching. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.